Imagine waking up one morning, grabbing your phone, and seeing a dozen notifications screaming the same dramatic headline: Bitcoin is dead. But before we panic, sell everything, and go live in a cave with a goat named Satoshi, let's take a breath and talk about what's really going on. This question, is this the end for Bitcoin, keeps coming back every few years. Usually when the price dips, the news gets loud, and the fear starts spreading like glitter at a kid's birthday party. So today, let's break it down in plain English, without jargon, without hype, and with just enough humor to keep the existential dread away. First, it helps to understand why so many people are even asking this question right now. Bitcoin isn't just another digital thing that sits on your phone like an abandoned fitness app. It's a global technology, a financial experiment, a cultural movement, and depending on who you ask, either the future of money or the world's most complicated lottery ticket. That means emotions run high. When Bitcoin goes up, people start saying you're guaranteed to retire early if you buy in today. When it goes down, the same people start announcing its funeral like they're printing invitations. It's always extremes, rarely anything in between. And because so many beginners hear these loud opinions, it's easy to wonder if Bitcoin's time is finally up. But to understand whether the end is near, we need to look at what's actually happening. Bitcoin's price can be wildly volatile. It rises fast, falls fast, and then rises again when everyone least expects it. This isn't random. It's partly because Bitcoin is still a relatively young technology. Think of it like a teenager, full of potential, occasionally moody, sometimes rebellious, and constantly misunderstood by older people who don't get it. So yes, Bitcoin's price drops can look scary. When billions of dollars disappear in a matter of hours, even calm people start sweating. But volatility alone doesn't mean something is dying. Roller coasters go up and down too. The point is, they're still on the tracks. Another reason Bitcoin often feels like it's on the brink of disaster is regulation. Governments across the world have spent over a decade debating what Bitcoin actually is. Is it money? Is it an asset? Is it something suspicious that needs to be controlled? The answer depends on which politician you listen to and whether it's election season. When governments talk about stricter rules, the market gets nervous. Exchanges may face new requirements, and some countries may limit trading altogether. This creates uncertainty, and uncertainty often leads to fear. But here's the funny part. Despite all the warnings, regulations haven't killed Bitcoin. In some cases, regulation has actually helped it become more mainstream by giving it clearer rules to operate under. Bitcoin is like that stubborn plant in your garden. You think it's gone, but then it pops up again from under a rock. There's also the ongoing debate about Bitcoin's energy use. You might have seen articles claiming Bitcoin uses more electricity than some entire nations. While there's truth to concerns about energy consumption, the story is more nuanced. Bitcoin's mining network is increasingly shifting toward renewable energy, and miners naturally seek the cheapest power available, which often happens to be energy that would otherwise go to waste. But headlines rarely mention that part because Bitcoin saves wasted energy doesn't get clicks like Bitcoin destroys planet does. People arguing about this topic online sometimes get more heated than people arguing about pineapple on pizza. But again, energy debates aren't new, and they haven't stopped Bitcoin from evolving. Another big factor driving the "is Bitcoin dead" conversation is the general global economy. When inflation rises, interest rates go up, or recession fears spread, investors tend to get cautious. They pull money out of risky assets. And yes, Bitcoin is still considered a risky asset. When traditional markets panic, Bitcoin often drops too. But this is less about Bitcoin itself and more about people trying to hold on to cash. It's the financial version of gripping the armrests on a turbulence-filled flight, even though the plane is designed to handle it. Bitcoin's price movements often reflect global fear more than anything fundamentally wrong with the technology. But if all of these challenges exist, volatility, regulation, energy concerns, economic pressure, why do millions of people still believe in Bitcoin? Why hasn't it disappeared after more than a decade of criticism and countless predictions of doom? Well, here's where things get interesting. Despite the noise, Bitcoin's fundamental principles remain unchanged. It's decentralized, meaning no single company or government controls it. Transactions are verified by a global network of computers rather than a bank deciding what you can or can't do with your money. And its supply is limited to 21 million coins, making it scarce by design. You can't print more Bitcoin the way governments print money when their budgets get tight. These core features attract people who want financial independence, transparency, and security. Adoption has also grown massively. Even during downturns, big companies explore Bitcoin payments. Major financial institutions offer Bitcoin-related products, and countries experiment with using Bitcoin in their economies. 10 years ago, Bitcoin was something only tech enthusiasts and online forum users cared about. Now, it's discussed on mainstream news networks, offered by traditional banks, and held by some of the world's largest investment funds. If Bitcoin were truly dying, it would be the first dead thing in history to expand faster than most living things. There's also a powerful psychological element. People who believe in Bitcoin for the long term often refer to themselves as hodlers, a community built around the idea of holding Bitcoin through ups and downs, no matter what. While the name came from a spelling mistake on an internet forum, the concept stuck because it captures something true. Bitcoin has survived dozens of crashes, dozens of final warnings, and dozens of obituaries written by analysts who were absolutely certain that this time Bitcoin would never recover. Spoiler, it always did. Some people even collect headlines about Bitcoin's death because they find it entertaining. There are hundreds of them dating back more than a decade. If Bitcoin really died every time someone said it did, it would have broken a record for the most dramatic comebacks in history. Another important angle beginners often miss is on-chain data. This refers to information about what's happening inside the Bitcoin network itself. Not the price, not the news, just cold hard data. And the data often shows something surprising. Long-term holders tend to accumulate more Bitcoin during downturns instead of selling. The number of people holding Bitcoin for multiple years has consistently grown over time, even during crashes. Miners continue to invest in stronger hardware, increasing the network's security. This behavior doesn't look like a community giving up. It looks more like people stocking up during a sale. Still, the question remains, could this actually be the end this time? After all, nothing lasts forever. What if Bitcoin really does fade away someday? That's a fair question, and nobody can predict the future with absolute certainty. But when we look at everything happening, adoption, infrastructure, regulation maturing, institutional involvement, technological development, it doesn't look like something nearing the end. It looks like something going through growing pains. Just because a technology faces criticism doesn't mean it's failing. The internet was called a fad. Smartphones were called a gimmick. Even electricity had skeptics who claimed it was too dangerous to ever be widely used. Change always seems impossible until suddenly it's unavoidable. What's more, Bitcoin's decentralization is its biggest strength. There's no CEO who can be arrested and no headquarters that can be shut down. The network exists everywhere and nowhere at the same time. It runs on tens of thousands of computers around the world. To truly end Bitcoin, you'd have to shut down the entire global internet or coordinate every country on Earth to ban it simultaneously, which seems about as likely as getting all humans to agree on the best pizza topping. Bitcoin doesn't rely on trust in an institution. It relies on math, code, and consensus among users. That makes it incredibly resilient. But let's be honest, even though Bitcoin is unlikely to disappear, that doesn't mean it's guaranteed to make everyone rich or reach some magical number like $1 million per coin. The future could unfold in many ways. Bitcoin might continue growing and become a globally accepted store of value, like digital gold. It might stay volatile, but remain part of the financial world as a niche asset. Or it might struggle to reach new highs, but continue existing as a kind of digital collecting hobby for enthusiasts. None of these scenarios are equivalent to the end. They're just different forms of evolution. So, is this the end of Bitcoin? Based on history, data, adoption, and the sheer persistence of the network, the answer is probably not. Bitcoin has been pronounced dead so many times that if it were a person, it would have its own talk show by now. But more importantly, the real question isn't whether Bitcoin is ending, it's what people expect from it. If someone thinks Bitcoin will only ever go up in a straight line and guarantee overnight wealth, then yes, that dream might be dead. But if someone sees Bitcoin as a long-term technology still developing, still growing, still finding its place in the world, then the story is far from over.